Hello friends, it's Chrissy. Welcome to, or back to my channel. A few things before I get started. One, it is storming really badly here and the light is really cool to me. But I just want to acknowledge that if my light seems off to you, um, it's because it's mood lighting provided by the weather. The second thing is my phone is it was dead. I forgot to charge it last night. So my my camera setup is a little more precarious than usual. So if the angle is a little weird, it's kind of what was necessary to get this film today. So this is a deck that I pre-ordered quite a while ago that I haven't seen anything about other than from the creator. This is the Earth Magic deck from Daniel Martin Diaz. I'll finish showing you the bag first. Did you see that lightning? Whoa, it's a cool day here in Kentucky. So this is an artist that my husband follows on Instagram that maybe a year or so ago, I was like, oh, he should make a tarot deck. I really like his art. And then he did. This is the back of the bag. I don't keep things in bags, so I will be giving this bag to my husband. He said it would be a great dice bag. I think he's right. Also, I can't have anything with strings because my cat Albus chews on strings. He loves them. So we have to keep them put up, which my husband will do, which I would not. So this is, I pre-ordered this maybe around Halloween. I really wasn't expecting it to be here by January. I know how deck production things go. So I really wasn't expecting it anytime soon. It came in earlier this week. So this is the box. We have the sticker that closes over the flap, and I just cannot stand to break those seals. So I do open mine from the bottom. To me, this backing is a beautiful, it's just beautiful. I love, it also smells like, it smells like shuffled ink printing. It smells like my deck did. So I'm assuming that this is the same printer as Pagan Otherworlds. Let me grab that deck. Where are you, buddy? Here you are. So just looking at size, yeah, it's the same size as the Pagan Otherworlds. I have shuffled my Pagan Otherworlds quite a bit, but the card stock feels the same. The height of the deck, it's a little shorter. No, they're the same. So yeah, this appears to be a very similar size and cardstock, maybe even identical to the Pagan Otherworlds. So this is one of those decks, along with Pagan Otherworlds, Tarot the Drowning World, and Tarot Volatile, that I bought thinking, I will teach my husband how to read tarot. This will be the deck that convinces Nathan that he needs to read. And then they come in and I'm like, nope, never mind, they're mine. And this Earth Magic Tarot fits firmly in that category. So we have two bonus cards in this deck, which I absolutely love. So this gives me a chance to play around with edging the deck if I decide to do so, and seeing how what sort of I almost said suction what sort of bleed there is, if any, on the card. And this really gives you a nice perspective to what this deck holds. So we have the initials of the creator, Daniel Martin Diaz. That's right? I say his name all the time, and now I'm really doubting it. Yes. And it's at danielmartindiaz.com. And here, I really like this representation here of the sword and the wand and the cup and the pinnacle, with growth, with blood, and with the crown. Such a good Such a good little tarot synopsis, which we also have in the title card. I love the anatomical heart. And again, the sword, the wand, the pentacle, the cup, with the pentacle being in on, this could either be like be seen as part of the justice scales or part of the package that's carried by the Fool. Either way, gorgeous. So I'm going to show you just how I you know what? No, I'm just going to flip through the deck and then I'll go from there. I had plans, but now it's pretty and I just want to look at it. So that's what we'll do. So with standard Fool imagery here, we have the dog, but we see the dog is running with him. Doesn't seem to be distracting in any way, but is instead a full companion. Carrying the star. The sun is crying. I did not get the guidebook with this deck because the guidebook was like $50. I could be wrong. It could be $40, but I was thinking if I got the two together that it would be $90, and that seemed like a lot. I don't remember the price of the deck, to be honest. I didn't look it up. I feel like I am enough of a I know tarot well enough to not need a guidebook, so I didn't buy it. But now I would love to see a few of the entries to know if I should, if the imagery is any further explained. So we have the Fool, the Magician. I love the hand at the top of the wand. It's very symbolic to me of the aces in general. And of course, we have all four elements on the table and the lush growth, the High Priestess. So I don't think I've shown you all yet, but I am collecting High Priestesses. She's my card of the year this year, numerologically. That's the word, right? So I'm collecting her and putting her in the front of my journal. So this will be, I'm definitely going to make a copy of her as soon as we're done here. The Empress feels very Alice in Wonderland to me. Her hands are branches and she's supporting the bird here. There's so much to see. She has a skull at the end of her wand. She's got limbs for hands. There's a star on the top of her crown and along her dress. The Emperor has very much a Hierophant energy to me, and I know part of that is like the presentation of his hand, but with this sitting above the town, so like his throne here is the mountain, holding the world in his hands. Obviously with this communion with animals, it feels more of a communion than a control over, and the crown is rising above. I like that. Oh, and I love how the Hierophant feels very deathy. I could talk about this all day long. How the Hierophant holds the keys, but there is a sense of death of something that's required to search or take full hold of the keys. And gosh, the imagery here of the foliage growing, the flowers and the leaves growing out of the hip socket is very much root chakra and sacral chakra to me. So, so looking at how the death of ideas, the acceptance of newer, different keys can lead to a growing sense of community and joy, of feeling rooted in the world and connection to our own feelings, but how there's a death of something required to get here. This, I like it. The Lovers. I'm not going to go through every card, obviously, because we'd be here all day. This to me speaks of like nervous system co-regulation. So these are obviously nerves that are coming down. I mean, for the most part, right? And then the jewel, the key to growth being meeting in the middle and like co-regulation of nervous systems through relationship. This feels very, very grounded, very somatic to me. And then I love the upside down skull here. Like our assumptions of what we think needs to die in order for growth to occur. And is that really necessary? I'm really curious how it was that it looks like they're in like little dugout holes is where they're standing in. And I'm really curious to see over time and experience with the deck what that could come to mean to me. So the Chariot, this is a chariot that is in motion, doesn't seem to have the weighted downness, I made up that word, of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. The figure is on a throne here. We have birds, griffins, maybe, pulling the chariot. I think it's interesting that these are animals that could fly, but they're grounded. They could fly, but they're walking, and that's even ignoring like the snake that's here being held by one. And is what is propelling us actually endangering us too? Like how to use our sense of discernment and awareness even when we're moving forward. And is there an easier way to do that? I tend to read the Chariot as being aware of where we're getting in our own way and where we're holding ourselves back, typically by the imagery in the Rider-Waite-Smith of the figure being encased in concrete, right, inside of the chariot. And to me, these animals that are capable of flight choosing to walk, this speaks a lot about, working smarter, not harder. And that's a lot of how I read the Chariot. Strength is interesting. Okay. This is going to be a very intuitive deck. I'm very excited about this. So the hand here coming out of the clouds feels very much like an ace to me. And it looks like the ace energy, the new beginning energy, is protecting this lion. The way I'm reading this is there's the flame and something coming out of this vial, out of this experiment that could be harmful to the lion, and that this energy, this more knowing, controlling energy is trying to hold it back, is trying to protect it. And I've never particularly thought of strength as a protection necessarily, or like an allowance here for the lion to be curious enough, but not actually harming. Oh my gosh, I love this deck. I'm just going to go through the majors. That's where I'll call it a day. The Hermit. I love when the Hermit is in motion, when the Hermit is on a path. This representation of we don't have to be still and hidden away in a cave somewhere to experience solitude and reflection. He's sat down, he's put his candle down and picked up this horn. I see the bird here acting as like thoughts that could distract. Especially with the bird being an animal of air and air being a sword, and how our thoughts can sometimes get in our way of following the star, of learning about the star, of letting our voice be known and following our inner light. We still have the staff here in the imagery, and there's a lot, I'm sure we've seen it other places, but thinking about the flowers and the branches and the leaves are very familiar to me of what was growing out of the main figure in, who was it that had death but wasn't death, in the Hierophant. So to me, I see the similarity between what is coming out of the Hermit's robe and what was growing out of the skeleton of the Hierophant. So I think it's interesting to think possibly then about how the growth that would occur between these two and how they're facing different directions. Oh my gosh. So much to explore. All right, let's get this right. And by right, I meant how things were flipped over. The Wheel of Fortune, with the gyroscope. That's the right word, right? And think, oh, and I love this. So thinking about things spinning things in many directions at once. And like the same event can be on this wheel at a certain point and could be on another wheel at a certain point, and how there are multiple processes at once that we're in the middle of, that it's not just the beginning and end of one process, but it's a point on multiple cyclical processes. Oh, I dig it. Justice. This feels very judgmenty at the bottom of Justice here, which I like. And we have the crown on the sword like we have on the ace. There's a lot of references in the majors back to the aces, which I dig. The aces in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith is what I mean. So here on the Hangman, the figure is actually bound, which is not my preference, but that's okay. We have the 3 swords, so the throwback to, I like to think of the 3 of Swords. Okay, when I said I like to think of, I totally went to Talladega Nights, and I like to think about Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt, and because he's here to party. It's where my mind went anyway. I like to think of the 3 of Swords as this energy of like what we already know is true, but what we're resistant to deal with, what we're afraid of how we can handle the truth that we're not letting ourselves see. That's how I see the 3 of Swords and the transformation that occurs in that. And I really see that in this Hanged Man with these 3 arrows, and thinking about, okay, if I can ignore the bound foot, I can totally get on board with this. Seeing the 3 of Swords as like a baby Hanged Man energy. We have Death, which is beautiful. We have the Scorpio representation. I don't connect astrology with tarot much at all, unless it's Scorpio related, because hi, that's me. So, and I really enjoy the hourglass. Wow, I totally lost that word for a second, as a representation of time and where we are in the cycle, just very similar to the wheel. But this is a cycle that cannot be upturned. It is what it is. Oh, beautiful. I love Temperance. So this magical, how is the water? How is well, the alchemy that's going on that is magical, that we cannot understand. And I love thinking about Temperance as co-creation with Source, right? How when we acknowledge and participate fully in a spiritual relationship, a connection with the divine, there are things that can be created and things that can be balanced that we can't do on their own. And I think a lot of Temperance has to do, for me, with my spiritual practices and my commitment to them, and to look both in and up at the same time, and seeing the little, I'm assuming that's a cross over here on top of this building, so assuming that this is a church of some sort. But then there's also a little stick figure on the roof of this building, which is so interesting. Okay, the Devil is one of the cards that when I had my husband flip through, I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. Thinking about the Devil as energy that we pass through. So the Devil is an invitation for us to see what our vices are and how we're acting out of alignment with our intentions. And seeing that the figure is going in the mouth and coming out of the stomach mouth. And I love it. I love it because it is this energy that we pass through. We don't get eaten and get stuck, right? We experience the call out per se, and then we come out changed on the other end. I mean, I don't want to say the devil poops us out, but but that energy is so, I feel like it's so much less scary when it's not just the devil eating the figure, but how we move into this energy, we process through, and then we move out changed into what appears to be, because it is tall and thin, what appears to be some sort of grass and not flames. So there's a lot more upheaval, discomfort, confusion, a lot going on up here. But then once we move through this process, it's into a much more peaceful environment. I love this deck. Yeah, my husband isn't getting this. Sorry, it's mine. Looking to the tower, very this is interesting to me. We have the cloudy sky and the lightning bolt. We have the fellow and the bird that are crashing down. So this, I'm assuming this thinness is supposed to be fire, but I'm still going to choose to see it as grass and the devil. I'm not going to lie. But here is the figure walking off of the plank. Has climbed all the way up to have different perspective and to walk off. So I think there's a lot of potential to see the choice in the tower. And I like to think that this bird is a figure that's going to catch our friend over here. But it has some serious Six of Swords energy to me, where only the very top part of the sky is so rowdy and rambunctious, and then the rest of it is really calm. So to me, there's this big perception and like actually assessing true risk. This is interesting to me. This division of the sky being chaotic only in the top, quarter is really interesting to me. Realizing that it may very well be an artistic decision so that these figures and the tree over here were clearer, but still, there's so many other things that have been so symbolic, I'm gonna trust that is as well. In the star, so we have here an astrological chart. We have a picture from Justice. We have I keep losing the word hourglass. We have the hourglass that was in the devil. We have rocky seas, which are in multiple cards. But there's this ability to know, to trust cycles here within the star. This is clear. This is dependable. This is scheduled, for lack of a better term. This is predictable. I like it. So for the moon, I'm guessing we have the view of us from the moon. So this is interesting because to me, I guess this could be looking at the moon with craters, but this to me looks like the Earth with planets or with continents. And I think it's interesting to look at us from the perspective of the moon, to see ourselves from the perspective of the moon instead of us looking to the moon. I'm going to sit with that. But my initial gut is this is the moon. This is us from the perception of the moon. The sun is just geometric. We have lots of triangles representing change. We have lots of the paths here of the sun, the circular paths, which is prediction of cycles to me. This card just feels really warm. I like it. Oh, Judgment, my buddy. I love this card. She has 3 sets of wings. There is both fire and blood raining down. But our figures here are not avoiding them in any way. They're accepting them. They're calling them. They're waiting on them. They're wanting them. So our path is not necessarily one of ease. And if it's not easy, that doesn't mean that it's not for us. And then the world. With the physical world, with fire, with being able to see, with holding all of this within our hands, having control impact on all of these with our hands. I love this card. Oh, beautiful. And because it's here, I can't not talk then about the Ace of Cups with the lotus growing out of the water. I do like how the streams from the fountain, we can see them going all the way into the water with this single lotus. I love the openness of the hand in the Ace of Cups here. I just want to see all of the aces. That's what we're going to do, because that's what we're studying in Attuned Tarot. And I think that's valid. Here with the Ace of Coins, there's this real presentation. There is a sense of, do you want this, in the Ace of Coins, which I enjoy. The Ace of Swords, we have this energy of really holding, and like the sound of receipt and the ta-da that comes along with that. And I like that the crown has stayed on the sword, which we saw in the High Priestess, the Empress. Where did we see that? We saw that somewhere, right? Am I making that up? Aha, Injustice. So Injustice, we see the shout out to the Ace of Swords, which I really like. And since we're here, let's check on my buddy. My favorite card, the Six of Swords, where we do have the rougher water and the calm water, but the acknowledgement of how emotions play a role in how we manage that energy. And then the Queen of Swords, my buddy. She looks a little sad, but that's okay. Then we have the Ace of Wands. I love that we've kept the hand is still facing us. There's that sense of like we're taking the wand, but we're holding it gently. The sense of home and security in the background. And then just for kicks, the Queen of Wands. So holding her magic and her tool. Oh, I love it. I love it. So friends, this is the Earth Magic Tarot. I'm going to take the 2 cards out, the 2 title cards. I will give it a shuffle and we'll do a little intro reading. So, oh, this is a beautiful shuffle on these cards. Since these are new, they need a good shuffle. So I'm going to keep going. Thinking about doing a 3-card draw to look at the work that we will do together. The first card being how the deck sees itself. The second card being how the deck sees me. And the third card being our work together. So the deck sees, these are all very representative to me. Like these are cards that I have personal meanings for. So I don't know how like typical reading this I would read this different for you than I'm reading that for me. I just want to acknowledge that. So the deck sees itself. The deck sees itself as a helper for me to recognize what I'm doing and the impact of what I'm doing. It sees me as as a master of my own thoughts, of actually being more discerning and focused and, for lack of a better word, cutthroat than I see myself. The sadness here in the Queen of Swords, I think here is coming from the deck recognizing my sometimes misalignment in what I need to do versus how I'm going to be perceived. So the deck sees itself as a tool to help me see my successes and my wins and what I'm doing right. It sees me doubting myself, my power, my impact, and the work we have to do together. The Six of Cups to me is 100% the energy of my inner child, and healing the assumptions that I've made about myself that I carry from childhood. So I see this, even though this looks very similar to the Seven of Cups, which I want to dig out and just see the differences of. But that our work together is to tease out what feelings I carry from my self-assumptions and to separate them from each other, to deal with them individually, and to notice how I can have more of an impact on feeling at home, feeling a sense of belonging, feeling a sense of impact and community, once I can tease out the parts of myself that I need to deal with. So I'm just curious here what the Seven of Cups looks like. I may have gone past it and you've already seen it. Here we go. Yeah, so the Six of Cups only has flowers and roots in it, where the Seven of Cups has the typical, all of the choices in front of us. I really like the stacking up of the city blocks there. So this is really interesting to me, especially since in the majors we saw the flowers and the sticks and the leaves coming out of the root chakra and the sacral chakra of the Hierophant. This feels like very stabilizing work, that teasing apart, dealing with my emotions to stabilize my lower chakras. So it sees itself as a tool to help me see my successes, my wins, those parts of myself. It sees me as sad and doubting my ability to understand and act on my thoughts. And it sees our work together as healing, teasing apart, healing the parts of my inner child, my inner adolescent, so that my impact can be beyond myself and onto the world in general. Ah, I love it. So friends, this is the Earth Magic Tarot from Daniel Martin Diaz. Yeah, if you want a full walkthrough, let me know. I would probably even do them suit by suit because, as you can tell, I have a lot to say. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.